Hey guys, TVI here, and I've got a fun little exercise to go over. Since the dawn of time, people have questioned what the best Pokemon type is, which one has the clear advantage, and which type is the most reliable in a battle. Well, before we jump off the battle bus into some juicy content, I want to give a shout out to our upcoming tournament that inspired this whole video. We've just announced the Type Lock tournament on our Discord server for mid-May time, so definitely join in our community if you're interested in casual battling. As the name implies, trainers will only be able to use one type in their team, but with a twist. Drawing inspiration from the Paldean gym leaders, trainers will be allowed to have one Pokemon that isn't their chosen type, allowing for some tactical decision making and interesting strategies to be showcased. Also, players will be locked into one Terra type, which will be the type that they've chosen. If you're interested in signing up, make sure to follow the links in the description or comment below your interest. You can find all the rules and information there, as well as chat to me and the TVI squad directly. You'll make it onto our leaderboard and can even win some great prizes. Anyway, the tournament got me thinking about which types have an advantage, or what circumstances could see some types come out on top compared to other types. So my thought process ultimately became this Battle Royale-esque thing where I pictured all 18 types face off against each other until the last man was standing, or in this case, the last type standing. Obviously, if we were to chuck 18 Pokemon into a Hunger Games dome, then there would be more to consider, like the actual Pokemon themselves, whether they're dual types, the stats and moves that they have access to, as well as how threatening they are in terms of sheer power. Sounds like a cool video idea. Put simply, if Loftisc were to represent water, and it had to face up against Charizard, a Tyranitar, and a Golurk, even with the type advantage, it would ultimately get destroyed, don't even at me. Therefore, the focus of this video will just be the standard types themselves, with no attachment to a single Pokemon. How would they fare in an all-v-all situation? Which type would come out on top and make it to the end? And which type will have no chance and lose every time? So what are the guidelines to this elimination process? How are we going to chisel down 18 types in a non-subjective way? Keyword, types. Not the Pokemon, not the stats, you. Honestly, without a massive vote or a debate, I don't think you can tackle this challenge while avoiding personal thoughts or being subjective. With that said, here's how I'd personally eliminate the types, so if you guys disagree, then you've done things in your own way, which is perfectly fine too. This is just my own method. So first, we're immediately going to eliminate all the types that can't deal any damage as a result of immunity. On screen, these 8 types get completely shut down should they reach the end with their counterparts. So if they somehow reach an endgame, they'll achieve no damage or impact. However, if their roadblocks were eliminated early on by other types, then we'd see a completely different outcome. But that's a video for another day. For now, goodbye to these 8 types. Now we're left with 10 types, so my thought process is to eliminate 2 at a time until we crown a winner. That way, we can at least rank the types from 1st to 10th and see who the winner of this game is. Should it be Inkay game or Munchlax games? Possibly thought we need to see which types get an advantage while in battle and pick out any weeds that get no support from a battle mechanics side of things. So what comes to mind is weather, terrains and speed control. With these types getting a buff to weather and these types getting a buff in terrain, we're left with bug, dark, steel and flying. Steel gets an automatic pass with the amount of resist it has and now only being threatened by fire. Moreover, flying swoops in to advance, as this type is associated with tailwind to give it a speed advantage, which is key in a battle. We now have our top 8, and have to eliminate Bug first, as it's weak to 3 types in Fire, Rock and Flying, and eliminate Dark second, as it has 2 weaknesses in Bug and Fairy, but it does have an edge against Prankster users. As the circle closes in, we need to eliminate the worst 2 game mechanics, while also seeing what has an advantage over what, and what has a disadvantage over another. After some simple maths, here's what each type is strong against, not strong against, and what each type is weak against. So since Fairy has no advantage over the remaining types, and Steel and Fire should have the edge, not to mention Misty Terrain is definitely the weakest terrain when compared to Grassy Terrain. Just ask Rillaboom. It's going to be placed 8th, followed by Flying, as while Tailwind is great, Steel and Rock resist, while it also being weak to Rock and Ice. Down to the final 6 now, and tensions are high. The starter trio types have a lot to offer, and I think if they were in the Hunger Games, they would have definitely teamed up by now for an epic final 3 showdown at the end. However, we can't count out Rock and Ice with their defensive buffs in Sandstorm and Snow. If you thought the storm outside the circle was bad, then these 2 are definitely going to create an issue inside the circle. Steel doesn't care, however. Steel doesn't need weather to prove its bulk. It has an advantage over both Rock and Ice, and is only really susceptible to fire. With that all said, and following the maths, it was close, but Ice and Rock get eliminated. Ice first, as its only advantage is against grass. It can barely touch fire, water and steel, and it gets destroyed by fire, rock and steel. No amount of defensive boost is going to help it. Meanwhile, in top 5, Rock just misses out as steel, grass and water exist. It does have the advantage to fire, but in a battle royale situation, if you've got to look out for 3 threats coming at you from all different angles, no amount of Sandstorm is going to keep you covered. Therefore, we move on to top 4 with grass, fire, water and steel. Honestly, any one of these types could come out on top, but we do need to crown a winner. One type needs to clutch an epic victory royale, so let's break it down. Grass, fire and water all have one advantage and one disadvantage against each other. Grass gets terrain to boost its attack power, while fire and water get sun and rain respectively. That leaves steel, which has interesting interactions with the aforementioned types. It resists grass, but is weak to fire. Also, water will resist the steel type moves. Additionally, there is no battle effect besides the very niche ability Steely Spirit that increases the power of steel type moves. So unfortunately, it kills me to say this, but still just falls short and finishes 4th place. As for 3rd place, we've hit a stalemate, 1 weakness each and 1 strength each. This is the same finale as Squid Game, but we all know that only one can win. Therefore, we need to consider each individual type on their own, and long story short, grass is 3rd place. They really did grass dirty when making the type chart. It has 5 weaknesses, meaning it has more chance to be eliminated early on, while 7 types resist grass. Well, 6, since it won't be facing itself. So grass is going to struggle to a third of the arena, not to mention that water is overall more defensive, while fire is more offensive. Therefore, by process of elimination, water is our number 1 winner. It gets the advantage over fire, and the only thing that can save fire is sunshine or being a dual type. I guess we all overlooked Little Love Disc at the start. It is clearly Victory Royale worthy. It probably just swam around hiding all game, and it just snuck a lucky win while the storm took out the everything else. Anyway, what do you all think of this concept? Chucking all 18 types in an elimination process to see who has the best advantage. Once you realise immunities play a huge factor into who can't win, the rest just falls into place. Again, this idea come from our upcoming tournament where players are representing a type to create a monotype team and facing off against other players. If you're new to the channel or our tournaments and want to get involved, then go for it. It's all for fun at the end of the day, regardless of skill, especially if you're looking to try something different than the standard VGC format. Make sure to comment your interest or follow the links in the description. We're also so close to 100 subscribers, so right now every click is huge if you want to join the TVI squad. With that all said, I'm TVI Tornado. Make sure to train hard, team build to the best of your ability, and I'll see you guys in the next video.